Hello and welcome back to the Orchid Arcane. Today we're gonna look at a very special orchid. This is the Sarcochilus Roseus. And if you're new here, my name is Basha and I've been growing orchids here in the UK for close to 20 years. I grow both indoor and outdoor hardy orchids. So if you're interested in that kind of content, make sure to subscribe. I post every Tuesday. So let's get to it. Sarcochilus roseus is a native to Queensland, Australia. It is very closely related to Sarcochilus siciliae. However, there is a bit of disagreement between taxonomists whether it is a standalone species or whether it's kind of a subspecies of Sarcochilus siciliae. But since the Internet Orchid Species Encyclopedia still classes it as a separate species, and I bought it as Sarcochilus roseus, I'll just call it that. This Sarcochilus is rarely seen in the orchid trade, definitely in the UK, possibly Europe as well. I haven't really seen it at any other European retailers. The only time I've seen it was when I bought it, which was at an orchid show in my local orchid society, and one of the members, I believe, imported a flask of these orchids from Australia, grew them a little bit and then had them available, so I bought one from him and it's been with me ever since. I've had it now for 11 years, so pretty long time. During the time I've grown it, it grew one basil keiki, but that was only because the mother plant, I'm not sure why, it kind of just died back. I've heard that there is such a thing as the Sarcochilus sudden death syndrome, which can happen after they've been repotted. If it was at a kind of wrong time perhaps, they kind of just die back. So that might be what happened, because I was never aware of it until very recently I've read about it. So that might be what caused the mother plant to die, but before that happened, it created two basil keikis, so I kept one and I sold the other one. Let's quickly talk about the requirements of this Sarcochilus, because it's slightly different to what you see with other Sarcochilus that you might be acquainted with. So this orchid, you can see it has these very fleshy leaves, and at the moment they're starting to become kind of brownish rosy tinge, and that can already tell you this orchid can take absolutely full light, definitely what we receive here in the UK. I have it on a south-facing window year-round with no shading, and it absolutely loves this. So this wants really pretty much as much light as you can give it. Depending on where you are in the world, you might have to adjust it, but I've heard also, kind of reading about it on the internet, that it does like high light. In its natural habitat, this orchid is actually mostly a lithophyte, which means that it grows on rocks, and it's quite rarely seen growing on trees. But in my environment, bark works a bit better because, as you can imagine, if it was planted in rocks, it would dry out very quickly, and they don't necessarily want to be kept too dry for too long. It is quite drought tolerant, but I try not to push it. The roots require very good drainage, so I grow it in kind of medium bark. I wouldn't put it in a bark that's smaller than this, because in my environment that might cause issues, especially in winter. You have to be careful you don't rot those roots when the temperatures drop and the water does not evaporate quite as fast, so just be mindful of that. When it comes to watering, it's, I would say, very similar to a Cattleya. I allow it to dry out completely, but then once those roots go all silver, then I water it. I don't wait for too long, but I would say you're safer giving it slightly less water than too much, because it has these thick fleshy roots that are quite prone to rotting if they're being kept too wet. This orchid grows in warm to cool conditions. I've heard that in kind of its natural habitat, it can go down to about 13 degrees Celsius, maybe a bit less as well. So they can take it quite cool in the winter time, but during summertime, they can take quite high heat. When it comes to the conditions that I provided, I just grow it indoors on my south-facing window, so it doesn't get quite as cold as it would normally get in its natural habitat in the winter. However, this does not cause me any issues whatsoever. For me, the temperature during winter is at about 17 degrees Celsius, and that is absolutely enough for it to initiate blooming. These grow at elevations of between 900 meters to 1,300 meters. So there's a little bit of variance there, but very adaptable orchid. And in my experience, it's been an absolute pleasure to grow. It was so easy. I've never had any major issues with it. As you can see, this is quite a tiny orchid, a true miniature, and I find it very fascinating how long these spikes can get compared to the size of the plant itself. These have only really started blooming recently, and the flower spikes flower sequentially. So they start in the spring and then they continue growing and blooming until about midsummer. The flowers themselves are not very long lasting. I would say maybe a couple of weeks per bloom. So the old flowers start fading while the new buds and flowers develop. As you can see, the spike just continues blooming, and you can see all those buds there at the tips. And it's very reliable to grow 2 flower spikes, and they usually grow around the same time. They start, I would say, at the beginning of winter. You'll see these flower spikes develop, and then they're very slow to grow. So then by spring, those buds will open. It's not scented, however, it absolutely makes up for it with those incredibly cute flowers. If you look at the lip, there is slight fuzz on it, which I think is just so cute. I really love these blooms. It flowers for such a long time that it just makes up for the lack of scent 100%. If you look up pictures of this orchid kind of in its natural habitat, most often you'll see them in clumps, similar to other Sarcochilus. However, for me, except in that situation where the mother plant started to die, this did not create any basal keikis. So I'm not sure whether it does create them in time and creates a clump, or whether it's just the seeds that germinate nearby the mother plant, kind of creating that clumping habit that you normally see. For me, this never created a keiki kind of on its own accord. Not sure if it's just something that I might be doing wrong. However, otherwise the plant is absolutely healthy. So it just seems to me like this does not tend to clump quite as much as other Sarcochilus species, which create basal keikis very freely. And this year I'm super excited about this orchid because we're going to do a little project. You might have noticed that here there is this spent flower. However, this isn't just a wilting flower. This is a seed pod. I decided this year that I will try to breed this orchid. I'm not going to do it myself because I don't have the facilities to sow orchid seeds. If you're not familiar with the process, orchid seeds do not store any energy like seeds of other plants. So they completely rely on symbiotic fungi to provide them with the nutrition that the embryo needs to develop, which is why orchid seeds are the smallest seeds of any plants. They're smaller than dust, so they can travel very long distances, and the orchid can create many seeds from a single seed pod, literally thousands of seeds, because the chances are most of them will not germinate and will not survive because they have to find a specific species of fungi for the species of the plant that is symbiotic with it, which is why the orchids create so many seeds. For commercial or hobby growing, what we do in the absence of that symbiotic fungi, since in most cases we don't even know what species we need to germinate the seeds of each orchid, is that we use kind of very sterile lab-like environment, and the seeds are grown in agar, which is like jelly-like substance that has the nutrition required for the seeds to develop. So what I will be doing, since I don't have a lab, I don't have the conditions, the expertise, or time required to grow this, I have teamed up with David from Angel Orchids. So I will be sending him the seed pod once it's ready to harvest, and he'll do the seed sowing service for me. And I'll get 2 flasks of seedlings once they're kind of big enough and ready to be deflasked, which just means removed and placed in pots or regular potting medium. I'm not 100% sure how many seedlings I'll get, because this really depends on kind of how fertile this orchid will end up. Because this orchid is quite rare, and I don't know anyone who has another individual of this plant, I have pollinated the flower on my orchid with another flower from the same plant. That's usually referred to as selfing, which means that you're not really adding new genes from another plant. So kind of the seedlings might be less vigorous and not quite as good as if you combine 2 unrelated individuals. It's quite common in the orchid trade to have selfings, especially if one plant has kind of very unique characteristics that you want to develop further. However, for kind of the vigor and future health of the seedlings, it's best to mix parents so that you don't end up with any undesirable mutations in the background being further concentrated. This will definitely be a longer term project because Sarcochilus seed pods take about a year to develop. So I've pollinated this about 2 weeks ago, and you can see the stem of the flower is noticeably thicker. However, it still needs to get a lot bigger than this. This year is also very interesting because for the first time ever, this plant is growing a 3rd spike, which again, very unusual. It always flowered on 2 spikes. I am wondering if that's because I've pollinated this flower, because this spike did not show up until after I've pollinated it. So I'm wondering if that kind of prompted it to develop another flower spike, but I'm just guessing. Maybe just the stars aligned and it decided to grow a 3rd spike, but very interesting. Let me know what you think. I'll keep you up to date on how this develops. I intend to make it a series, so this is part 1, and we'll keep checking in on how the seed pod develops. So hopefully we'll see some seedlings of this in the future. And I'm really curious how many plants are we going to end up with, because it's such a wonderful plant. I would love to share this species with other people and make it slightly more available for growers in the UK. But let me know, do you have this orchid or have you had this orchid in the past? What are your experiences with growing it? Or maybe you have other Sarcochilus species, and if you do, let me know what you have. And if you have experience deflasking orchids and growing them from seed, also let me know down in the comments. I would love to know how you've done it. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't want to kill off these really kind of rare plants. So I'm gonna be super careful and just read up as much as I can. Thankfully, I still have about a year to go, so I have time to prepare properly. And if you'd like to see the rest of my orchid collection, make sure you click on the video above, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!